is time.
Okay.
So let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Brandon McShaffrey. He is, go ahead, you can clap this. And I also want to introduce you to Gordon Ostrowski, who is our regional governor for the National Opera Association, and he's responsible for helping us set up this Masterclass conference because this is being sponsored by the National Opera Association. So we're really excited to have it. So, all right, so just a little bit about Brandon. I'm going to read it because I don't have it memorized. But he's a professor of opera at Temple University. Been acting and directing for longer than we probably want to say, right? No, I'm not getting you. Just joke.
38.
Choreographer as well. He's producing director of Mockingbird Theater Company. And he's worked at Drexel University, Villanova University, Boyer College of Music, et cetera, and University of Chicago Conservatory of Performing Arts.
That's
Yes.
the fancy word for Roosevelt.
Yes, okay.
I got my BFA in musical theater from Roosevelt. To expand on that just a little, so you know a little bit about my path to opera. I started off as a dancer and a gymnast. My aunt's owned dance studios, so I always thought I was going to be a dancer. I was in the junior company of Hubbard Street in Chicago, the Joffrey, and then I was like, I can't do this. I'm going to be a musical theater star. So I went to Roosevelt, and I was not a star. I was given the voice teacher for the dancers, which means they just kind of pass you through. And then I had a cabaret act that I toured in Chicago for a couple of years, took 10 years off in retail and choreographing because you got to pay your bills. And when I went back and got my master's in directing, I was in like Shakespeare directing. I finished that, and I always had this like pull between dance, directing, and then after my MFA, I was sitting at cocktails with, can I say cocktails?
Yes, you can see that.
Are we all grown? We're all grown.
Yes.
I was sitting at cocktails with the head of voice and opera, and their stage director quit the day before school began. And she was like, I need someone to teach undergrad opera workshop. And I was a desperate graduate. I was like, I can teach anything. I'll do it. I was working at Villanova, Drexel, Rowan, and Temple at the time as an adjunct. I was like, I can do it. What is it? It's words and music. Done that all my life. And it wasn't until I did that for a year, and then they fired the stage director of Hansel and Gretel, and I was sitting in the office. I was like, I can do it. I can direct anything. What language? And they're like, well, let's start staging on Tuesday. It was Friday. And I was like, I can do it. I can do anything. And I got myself in the door and figured it out. And that was 9 years ago. And by then I probably had directed 40 to 50 musicals and just as many plays. And it wasn't until I was in my late 30s that I was like, oh, the culmination of all this for me is opera. It lives as big as I do. It feels as enormous as I feel, and it embodies everything at the max. I don't do anything small. I got assigned once like a kitchen sink play where it was like one room and people talking, and I was like, what do I do? They're just gonna stand there and talk? But in my teaching, I also found that a lot of singers don't have any tools to act or use their bodies. They just simply go by and like have all this wonderful voice training, and then they sprinkle in on a little acting at the end. The voice teacher's like, stand there, don't move your arms, don't move your eyes, don't move your shoulders, don't do anything. And so I got over to the opera department, and they were all like robots, unable to move. And I was like, what are we doing? This is the most expressive and moving music ever written, and we're just standing like, forgive the expression, skin suits, just like a skin on a hanger, just standing there with no tension. And I'm not a trained opera singer, so I don't understand vocal tension and all of those mechanisms that it needs to make those beautiful sounds. I still marvel at the beautiful sounds because I'm tone deaf. Well, no, I'm actually deaf, so if I like need you to repeat or I'm like staring at your mouth, I'm reading lips because I am hard of hearing, so forgive me that. I also talk too much and hate the sound of my own voice. So my plan today is to do a little centering warm-up and talk about like expression and how we physically express and embody a character, and then do a workshop using our bodies. It's not movement intensive. We will not be rolling on the floor unless you choose it. We will not be like touching each other unless you choose it. Just general range of motion. I'm gonna give a little content warning because my life is a content warning. Sometimes when we use our body to express emotions and to express things that we feel, it's sometimes memories and traumas are locked in our muscles, and sometimes just by simply moving the body in certain ways, it releases. So if there's any time you're up and moving or you would rather observe, please know I respect that. I give you that space to just sit out, no questions asked, or if something just feels too raw, don't push. Because there's no reason to use our personal trauma for the sake of the drama. And do we always know when that's coming? No. We've all had some moment where we're preparing a piece and the tears just come flowing and we have no idea why. So before I get us up, what do you guys find is the most challenging while performing? I'm assuming we're all performance. If not, we're always all performing, no matter where. What are the biggest challenges you face on stage? Yeah.
Nerves.
What's your name?
Barrett.
Barrett?
Yes.
Great. Nerves? What kind of nerves?
Just anxiety, like performance anxiety. I get like butterflies, my mouth gets dry, that kind of thing. Makes it really hard to sing.
Are you a well-prepared singer?
Yeah, I like to think so.
Then where do the nerves come from?
Fear of failure mostly, I think.
Same.
Even though
I'm so nervous right now. I'm like, I'm gonna fail. But like nerves, it's interesting. I've been reading a lot on neuroscience and like the structure of emotions and nerves, and the dopamine and things that are released when we're really excited are the same exact things that happen to our body when we're nervous.
Cortisol, yeah.
And it's like, so I try to train myself to say, I'm not nervous, I'm excited, but I'm really just nervous.
Yeah.
Are you hard on yourself after the performance?
Oh yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Who did that to you?
I don't know myself.
Right. We've been set up to accept failure as the known outcome. Like, what else do we struggle with? Yeah.
Just me, for personal, my name's Joe.
Hi, Joe.
And something that I struggle with personally is, well, I think it started actually not long ago. I had a change in my antidepressant medication, and I mean, I've always had like the fear of failure too, but what's happening lately is when I get something right, when everything is clicking, it feels so good, and I get so overwrought with emotion that I choke up. I get all choked up and I start crying, and I lose, I don't know, the emotion just,
Because
it's
the
going
success
so right.
is too good for you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, do you, when you choke up, do you do that on a non-performing basis? Do you cry? Do you allow yourself to cry?
Yeah.
Great. A lot of performers and people like us have what I call emotional constipation. Most people don't feel, well, no, that's not. We feel a ton of things every day, but we don't allow ourselves to. The culture of everything's fine, everything's all right, is actually toxic for the performer, because we have to use our emotional expressiveness to interpret the art, but because we're surviving in the world as sane people, we can't actually show it. Or we don't allow ourselves to show it, where you want to just weep because you got a text that your childhood dog died. You have to get up out of the room, hide, cry in the corner, recompose yourself, and enter. That's not a good sense of like emotional flow and allowing things to come out of yourself. Do you guys know the difference between an emotion and a feeling? What is the difference? What
Emotions
is your
are
name?
Leon.
Leon?
Yes. So feelings tend to be more like short term, and like states where like emotional tend to be a little bit more long term.
Long term versus short term? Okay. Any other thoughts on what it could be? The difference. We use them at like interchangeably, but there is a very different.
I think that emotions are the term, and you feel the emotions. You have a variety of emotions that you allow or / not allow to feel it.
So emotions are the impulse.
Yeah, that you carry the emotions within you. The hate, the love, the happiness, the sorrow,
Glad, sad.
whatever. And the feeling is actually I would say the verb.
The verb.
Or
Yes.
what you do with that.
So emotions, yes, very much so. Emotions are something we cannot control. Emotions is a automatic response to a stimuli. If you, forgive the image, if you see a baby carriage roll out in front of a bus, that response is an emotion. We don't know what it is until we put thought to it. And once we take the emotion and add thought, it's a feeling. So, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. I can't. What is love? Like, there's thousands and thousands and millions of poems and everything trying to express it, but love is simply like that impulse of attraction or lust plus whatever's going on there. So the base emotions are probably, I'm thinking of that movie, happy, sad, where's my notes? Happy, sad, angry,
Afraid?
fear, rage, joy, sadness, and surprise. Surprise is often called disgust, but surprise is useless to us because it's not sustainable. Surprise is, oh, and then it's done. So if I take a little fear and add to it, so if we're feeling nervous about a performance, that the base root is fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of Susan. Fear of disappointment, fear of, but when we put it in and it's, what is the thought by it, if it's like the anticipation of failure, that is fear plus that, and then it becomes a feeling. So feelings will often not disobey you. They'll sometimes not work. So as singers and performers, we're trying to elicit the emotional response. We're trying to key into that lizard brain response of the flylands eat. Perception is the key for singers, because I do not believe that with everything you have going on in your head with technique, language, placement, resonance, all those things you're supposed to think about, there's a camera. So I used to teach only Stanislavski-based techniques, but I think that is some BS, because there is no room in our head to choose an action at all times. There is no room in our brain space, if you're phonating and buzzing, to actually think about, what do I want in this moment? So what I like to do is train my body to respond on a visceral level and give my body an emotional script so that it can be recreated and not detriment to what I have to do up here. That's really easy to say, but it's really hard to do. Because the fine line between like gestures and that, what comes first, the impulse or the gestures? Does anybody rehearse gestures? Like, I was sitting there, I was watching a student prepare for an audition the other day, and they had their phone open and they were like, And I was like, oh, they're just rehearsing the actual hand movement. And you'll have a lot of stage directors say that. I want you to lift up and reach here and then clutch him at this moment, and you're like, okay, that's a rehearsed gesture. Do you move while you sing? No?
No, yeah, I mean, like, I know there's definitely like the moment like you need to stay grounded throughout singing, but I also just have a tendency to like want to use my hands and to express it because I feel like that's just natural with how I speak, and when I then try to translate that into what I'm singing, I feel like I have a tendency, but I know sometimes I have, like you said too, it's as
Do you get told to stop moving? It's okay, unless they're here.
not sometimes. It depends, I think, on the performance of the situation.
Do you want me to leave?
No, Sue,
I have a microphone in the wall anyway, so.
no, it's an interesting thing that when you're preparing a piece, do you move in a practice room?
Yeah.
Do you act when you're learning a piece? When do you add the emotional acting component in your work?
Way too soon.
When you get the words down or something like that, or like, you know, of what you're trying to sing.
So music, words,
And then the acting gets involved.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with that. I kind of like to let like the music stuff get into like my muscle memory, and then this way I don't have to think about it as much, and then I can focus on the other stuff.
do you allow the language to get into your muscle memory?
Yes.
Do you allow the acting to get into your muscle memory? So, my thoughts on this, and this is an opinion, not a fact, is if we're not getting the acting and the emotional movements in our body from the beginning, it does feel less important than, your body doesn't have the same muscle memory to rely on as the well, like, coached aria. And then sometimes when we sprinkle on the acting, the body will inform your mechanism in a bad way, and then the acting starts to hurt the singing. And that happens a lot. So my way of fixing that is to move the movement and the acting earlier, so it's working incongruent with it. Every one of these composers you're working with is an artist and an actor. They're acting through an orchestra, they're acting through notes. They are giving you the hints of what to play. It's only our job to let that flow through our mechanism and interpret it. Now, I'm not doing anything with music today, so no singing or anything.
I approach it differently,
Yes,
if I may say.
no, please say.
I always take the lyrics first. And it's not only that I translate, if I don't know the language, then I translate the lyrics, and I go beyond that. I want to understand exactly what the poet meant when he wrote each and every word.
And why there's 3 repeats.
Sometimes it's the composer who makes the repeats
Mhm.
because it fits the music, but I used to sing Lieder, which is and for me it's a chamber music, and it's not only the pianist or the chamber group that accompany the singer. We come with the poet first, then the composer, and they are there. And we cannot ignore the poet or the poem.
Because usually the poet came first.
Yeah,
And
so it's there. And I think that once I understand the poem, it comes with the music, and then it's not that I go first for the poem and then I neglect the music. I do it simultaneously, but the poet and the poem always comes first.
That takes a long time to get to trust, and it sounds like you find your way in through the words.
Yeah.
You find, because you have to love what you're performing, whether you're being paid to, whether it's a job. I mean, I get offered jobs, I do jobs that I hate. I've done 3 Mamma Mias in the past 10 years.
Uh,
Here we go again. I've done multiple high school musicals, the musical. They are not something that like feed my artistic soul. But I have to, as a director and a storyteller, find my way in. And for me, a lot of that times it's the relationships. But when I'm working on like Monteverdi, it's like the poetry comes first, or the story. You have to find a way to love what you're doing. I hear often with young singers particular, I'm sorry, I'm talking so much, we'll get past this so I don't have to talk again. They judge their character. More so, we were doing a Don Giovanni piece, and they were all like, "Monteverdi's so stupid. He's such a useless role. He doesn't do anything. He just stands there, and he does." And this is the tenor talking about his own character. I was like, "Well, of course he's boring. You've judged him. You've given him all the reasons to not have life." Or when we get to the Donizettis and we get the smart women who read. You know, the Belle trope that she starts off reading a book so we know she's smart and got her stuff together. So often, like if you're working on a Dina and Elixir, you'll be like, well, she's silly, she's dumb, she's light. And I'm like, no, she's like running a whole farm and everyone's gathering to hear her read. She's the smartest person in town. Why are we judging her? Because she likes a man. We all like a man, allegedly. You know, so do you judge your characters based on what they're going through? Sometimes we all do, because it's easier, like we judge ourselves. Like we'll do things and we'll sit there with the phone watching to see if he texts back, even though he's never going to text back, but we're still gonna watch, and every time it buzzes, we're gonna be like, okay, is he texting? No, it's not him, it's my mom. Like, that is stupid behavior. And we all intellectually say we don't want to do that, but the human impulse is for that approval and that connection to happen. So your first assignment for the week, if this is going to be something that lives in your brain, is to note when you're going through something, and noticing how your body actually responds to your own emotions. When you walk on the subway and you see someone who's going through it, and they're sitting in the corner, and all they're doing is like sitting there, but you can feel that they're like devastated, or they just got dumped or something, like you can see that, right? We don't have to hear it, we don't have to ask them. What allows us to see what they're feeling?
Our own feelings.
Your own feelings?
The energy in the air.
Yeah, what is that?
It's just, you can feel when something's off, and like, it's just their energy is like vibrating to you, and you just know someone's sad over there.
Say body language.
Body language? What comes first, the energy or the body language?
It depends on the person.
And how big it is.
Yeah.
So energy, this is where we get a little hooey and a little, what is energy? Like, can you manifest it?
Yes.
You're an empath, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. I believe you can. Some people call it charisma, and some people were born with gallons of it that just ooze out of their every pore. The rest of us have to work at it. Have you ever rehearsed your charisma? Have you ever decided to walk into a bar and be noticed?
No.
Or walk into a party and you're like, I want these people to see me, and you like turn it on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
That is turning on your charisma. When you're auditioning, do you fill the room with yourself?
Yeah.
When you're want to be left alone, do you shut it all down so people feel that you do not want to be spoken to. That street walk vibe, that's like,
Stay away.
stand away. We're basically pushing our energy out and protecting it so they don't talk to us, don't ask us for money, or when you feel that danger behind you.
Yeah.
That is something that you can use in your performance on a regular basis. Rehearsing the amount of space you take up in a room, and that's what the movement exercise I'm going to lead you on is for, to see how much you can actually control how much space you take up and how vulnerable you feel. I use the word vulnerable because when you are taking up a lot of space and emotionally open, there is the possibility to get hurt and emotionally hurt. And playing these roles and embodying a character demands you be emotionally vulnerable. And that's not fun. Nobody likes to be vulnerable. Well, I know a couple people that are like always performing vulnerability and trauma. They're always the ones sitting in the corner crying. But true vulnerability draws people in. And when you are performing on stage, you want the audience to care about you. You want, my favorite performances are the one that I'm always like, I just want to help him. I was at the final, camera. When you are at a production of La Boheme and Mimi dies and no one cares, that is a problem. And we all know she's going to die. There's probably not a human that hasn't heard some form of that story. So when we do see one that cries, what moves the audience to tears? My teachers would say it's the beautiful singing. But those are also the teachers that would prefer to stay in their home, put on their LP of Joan Sutherland, close their eyes and imagine the recording. Imagine what's happening. No tea to Joan. But as theater is an opera is a visual art, the audience has to be moved by what the bodies are doing in space. And should the Mimi look back at her childhood, find reasons to be devastated as she died, and re-traumatize herself every night to reenact that moment? Absolutely not. But that's what Stanislavski would like us to do. Can she, in other terms, embody the emotional visual cues and give the audiences the same experience of seeing somebody who's devastated on the subway? That she has in her control. She can look like she is at the end of her rope and giving up life slowly if she is in tune with her body. I saw one Mimi who died, and it was comical. She was like, here, she went, but her whole body stayed as stiff, like she was holding on to her breath, and she was like, it's like, okay, I can't cry at that. That doesn't look real. So, any questions so far? Ready to get up, start?
It is 10 o'clock.
Yep, I got it. All right, so if we could just find some space in the room. If we just want to push things a little further back. I don't want us walking on top of each other, but we're going to be walking,
Your
moving
chair
down.
away.
Just the walk.
Okay.
This is a Michael Chekhov technique about atmospheres, and the atmospheres is the space in and around you. It's going to feel a little meditative, but just go with me. It's a little hooey. Find some space. We don't have to be in a circle. Face in a direction that you feel like you are alone, but still able to move. I don't need eye contact. So, when we're looking for the impulse of all gestures, I'm going to, it's all, I don't want to use chakra terms, it's the golden chakra just in in our, right here, what is it, which one is that? I'm assuming you know.
I'm a Reiki master, what are you looking for? That's the heart chakra.
Heart chakra.
It typically is green.
I'm gonna turn it gold for today. So I'd like you just to, I'm gonna take my shoes off because I work better in socks. I hate feet. Don't. Close your eyes if you want and take a moment to yourself, and I want you to do a small body scan and how your body's doing today. Check with your breath, and I said the word breath, so everybody started breathing irregularly. You should be breathing at a simple ease to survive. There should be no singer's breath, no anxiety breath, just the simple in and out flow of your breath. I'd like you to think about how your feet are meeting the floor today. How are your feet doing? Are they at a comfortable distance? How do you feel free to take your shoes off if you want, so you can feel the floor. How do your feet meet the floor? Are you somebody who prefers to be evenly balanced on the floor? Are you somebody that holds more weight at your heels? I roll out slightly. I like the outside of my feet. How do your feet function? Just massage the floor with your feet, feel it out, and see how your feet are doing today. Great. Move that up to your ankles. How are give your ankles a check. Do you roll your ankles in? Do you like to hold your weight on one foot? Just give your ankles a little attention. Move it up to your knees and just give your knees a little attention. Most people tend to lock their knees. In my classroom, I tend to have a stick and I tap the back of the knees to unlock. Try not to lock your knees. A quick little exercise. Go ahead and lock your knees. Lock your knees and squeeze your butt cheeks. Great. Now put that tension in your throat. Real easy, right? It's like all locked up. It goes right to your throat. All right. Relax your glutes. Relax your knees. Make sure they're really bent and open. And relax your glutes so much that something could pass really easily. Like really just no tension down there. Right? We'll hear it. It's fine. So with all that open and unlocked, I'd like you to try to tense your throat. Is it easier? It's so much harder. So when someone is when the tenor is on their tippy toes with their knees locked, reaching for that note, all that tension from the knees and the glutes is going right up the sides of your throat. So when in doubt, sit on it and open it up. It's kind of opposite of the old adage of squeezing the dime. My voice teacher always said, squeeze your butt cheeks like you're holding a dime. No wonder I had so much tension and pitch problems. Great, so back to our knees. They're open and unlocked. Unlock your hips a bit, give them a little wiggle. Oh, hips don't move today. So let's give our hips a little roll. Let's roll them to the right. Just roll your hips. Oh, this is very hard for some people. Other people, it comes easily. Roll it to the left. Give it yourself a little massage. Rock your hips back and forth. So check your feet distance. They should be about equidistant to your hip flexors. If your feet are too close together, it's really hard. Oh no, now I'm Shakira. Like it's much harder to roll your hips, and it becomes much more of a booty shake. If they're too far, you start looking like you're in the club. So you want to be able to loosely roll all your joints, hips to knees to ankles. Right, and have that freedom. Great. If you cannot move your hips by yourself, you should spend some time in your practice room rolling your hips. Let's check our chest. Unlock it a little, give it a little attention, see what is tense. Instead of my chest, I like to think of my spine. How tight is your spine today? Is it aligned? Is it tense? Give everything it needs a stretch if you need it. I'm gonna crack because I'm old. And sometimes I just need everything to pop so I can feel alive. Great, a quick posture check. Check your shoulders, give them a roll. Roll them back. Roll them forward. Roll one forward and one back. Oh. It's good to laugh when something is silly. Please laugh. This is all so dumb. Give the same attention to your wrists and elbows. Give them a roll just to feel everything is loosed up. And my favorite stretch is the yawn of the fingers. Like a finger yawn. Nothing will make you feel more alive than a good stretch of the fingers. I don't know why. Great. Just give it your neck a little attention. Just give it the love it needs. My neck is saying, I'm too stiff to roll around. I slept on a cardboard mattress. Okay. My posture check. You all seem to have relatively good posture. So with your feet planted by your hips, I'd like you to, without any alterations of shoulders, we're going to lift our hands up. And I want you to stop where they naturally stop. So and lift your arms, and where they want to stop, let them stop. Don't adjust the shoulders, don't push. Great. Let it down. So we are all a little victims of the curved in shoulders. That's backpack culture, hiding, protecting ourselves. We all slightly in contemporary times roll our shoulders slightly forward. So to correct that, I'm going to give you a posture stretch, and I want you to push your shoulders as far forward as possible, to the point where it doesn't hurt, but you can feel it. Great. Take it and roll it up to the ears. Great, and relax. We're going to do that again. So a lot of people jumped and went from here, recovered, and up. To stretch the flexors, we have to roll it up. And I feel it in my mid-back. All right, so feet apart. Are your knees unlocked? The room just shrank an inch. And push it forward, up to your ears. Now continuing that circle, roll it back. Great, clench the fist behind you, and wherever your shoulders are now, push them straight down. Great. Now without adjusting the shoulders, relax the arms, relax the chest, and relax your arm socket. Now lift your arms. They all go all the way up. So, how does standing with that correct posture feel? Good. A little vulnerable, a little exposed. It's because what we're doing is we're cracking open our chest resonance. We're cracking open our hearts, literally. We slowly start to shrink in. So let's give it one more quick roll. Forward, up, back, clench, push down. Great. And with this new relax it, take a walk around the room. Just take a walk. Don't ignore the people. These are your friends, your coworkers, your colleagues. You can acknowledge them. Walk with as much openness and correct posture. Did I get a wink? Was that for me? What's your name?
Donna.
Donna, the wink? You guys didn't wink at me. Hi, Donna. Here we go again. Great. Find your own space in the room, and we're going to try to maintain this posture. Your posture is gorgeous.
Yeah, it is.
It is gorgeous. What is your name?
Maya?
Maya. Sorry, I thought it was like that's a good posture. She was like, fine. fill out the space, don't get stuck on the sidelines. I invite you to close your eyes if you want, because I just don't like people looking at me when I do this. I would like you to imagine at the core of your center, just under your rib cage, a golden pea, like a pea-sized little golden, I'm just gonna keep saying pea, right at your heart chakra, but it's gold, the prettiest color gold. Just close your eyes and imagine it there. In that pea lies every natural impulse that you've ever needed for anything. It is not solid, it is not metal, it is gaseous, like the sun. A little pea-sized sun in the center of your core. Just focus on it and breathe it and allow your mind to imagine it. It's perfect. It's flowing. You know what I mean when flowing. It's got like that orbis gas. It has everything you need to tell every story. Take that orb now and increase it to about the size of a golf ball. Well, I went from peas to golf balls, so maybe a plum. We'll make a nice emotional fruit salad today. Still living between your rib cage and your spine, still golden, still has that good flowing energy. Increase it to the size of an orange or a softball. Don't forget to breathe. Unlock your hips and knees. The room just shrank an inch. Increase it to the size of a grapefruit or a small soccer ball that will fill your chest from the rib cage to the spine. So this circle is now touching your outer shell. Great. Keep it moving, don't let it be stagnant. So now we're going to take that orb and unbreak its shape and allow it to fill our torso from our shoulders to our navel. So fill your torso with this golden energy. I would say all of you are really good at filling it forward. We are not filling it down our back. Allow it to flow back and down. Good. Allow that to drop down to our hips and include our hips. And our whole, cradle, what am I going to call it today? Our base, where our lower reproductive organs are, our intestines, all of that down in our hips. Fill that with that golden energy. Let it move around. Unlock your hips so that it's not stagnant. Did we include our lower spine? Don't forget your backs. Great. Let it drop down to the knees to include our thighs. There's nothing very emotionally expressive about thighs. They're best served with barbecue sauce. You gotta keep laughing through it. Let it pass past our knees to our ankles. So our feet are just kind of dead, but we're charged from our shoulders to our ankles. Imagine the gas flowing up and down, not just swirling, that the energy moving from your shoulders to your ankle is going through your core, through your chest center, and push it down through your feet. I know our hands are getting jealous. They're just hanging there like skin suits. Now our feet are charged. Let's move it from our shoulders down to our elbows. Add a little space in your armpits so it can feel free to flow. And finally push it down to your fingertips and allow it to fill. The hands are probably the most, other than the face, the most expressive part of the body. It's where we see most of the things people are feeling. Great, fill it up in our neck in our throat. Allow it to pass up your spine into your scalp and then fill your face so your whole body is full of this golden gaseous energy, this wonderful pure impulse. Great. The energy in you is now the size and shape of exactly you. It is its most efficient form. It is neutral. It is there for you to use and shape, but it is simply the size of you. Now to work this, we're going to push it. And I'd like you to make it exactly 1 inch bigger than you in all directions. 1 inch forward, 1 inch taller, 1 inch in back, and 1 inch into the floor. That's pretty easy. Watch your back, make sure you're expressing it. Make sure that you're not just going up, but you're letting your lower back too. Great, let's push it to 6 inches. So we are 6 inches bigger, taller, forward, back, into the floor. Everything is 6 inches around you. Great. Make sure that everything inside the energy is still loose, not locked. Keep your joints open. Push it to 1 foot in each direction. I believe you all forward and side to side, a little more on the top and a little bit more in the back. Very good. Yes. Keep that breath cleansing. Because I'm 6'2", let's go 3 feet in each direction. So basically an arm's length in each direction. Push this circle so that it's 3 feet in front of you, 3 feet to each side. I believe your right side, but push it a little more to your left. Take it, expand behind you 3 feet. You are living at about 2 feet. A little bit more. Sorry. Yep. So now you are 3 feet above, 3 feet below. So when we feel it above, we tend to get ungrounded. So feeling it into the ground will help us ground ourselves. Now in this new giant size, I invite you to open up your eyes and take a walk around the room. You within this orb. It moves with you. It feels a little weird when people are too close to you because you can sense it. And they are literally in your space. Now, without trying to hold it like a robot, just walk and maintain that size. Just walk and maintain your size. How much room are you taking up today? Essentially, you are taking up 6 feet in each direction more. And come to a stop. Check in with yourself. Is it still there? This is what I call, and Michael Chekhov calls an atmosphere. This is your personal space of atmosphere, how much that you have around you. Quickly, with a little imagination, close your eyes, and I'd like you to step out of your atmosphere and leave it right there for you. So just take a step to the left, the right, forward, step out, and visualize it outside of yourself. That it's still there waiting for you. Your atmosphere is waiting for you. And go ahead and step back into it. Yep, and see how charged that makes you feel? And it was just waiting for you. Great, shrink it down to just the size of your skin suit. Shrink it down to just the torso. Release the energy from the legs and the arms. Take it down to the size of a baseball within you. Take it down to the golf ball. And then back to the pea. It is still there and can expand and contract at any given time, but it is there for you to fill the world with yourself. and relax. I like to fly over things after. Any response to that? How do you feel? How? Mm-hmm.
The release, I felt that my body felt heavier because like I know there's like something about the expansion, like letting go of all that, I could feel the weight.
When you stepped out of it? Yeah. You were like, oh. You were floating. Any other?
I felt detached.
Detached?
Yeah. When there's this space around me, like, don't come near me.
Ah, yes. It's like, this is my dance space, that is your dance
Don't
space.
step in.
It felt like another reality in space to me, like really specific to me, and I
Mhm.
wouldn't expect to understand anybody else's space.
So it felt like your space.
Yeah.
You were giant. Anybody feel nothing? We have, great. Usually there's ones that's like, I was faking it. But I use that to energize myself whenever I need to lead a room or be in front of a room. It helps me feel centered and connected to every part of my body. Like, I mentioned about feeling in the back. Yes, I can kind of sense and see that, but we tend to only push ourselves forward. And there's sometimes on stage that we have to backed in. It's like the shoulders are the eyebrows of the back. Great. So I'm going to give you a set of words, and this is just an exploration. If we can take and make kind of a line, like, I don't know if we want to move this. Oh, let's keep it this way. So let's split in half so we have some actual space. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Let's observe. Great. So let's go this way. We have more room to move. So the text I'm going to give you, I would like you to embody as you speak. The line is, I am forward and I am open. So whatever that feels like to you, just say it and move. It usually looks like I am forward and I am open. All right, so ready? Begin. Yep, all at the same time. It doesn't have to be in sync. We're going to fall out of sync. It's fine.
I'm forward and I'm open.
I am forward and I am open.
We have to move with it?
Yep.
I'm forward and I'm
Forward
open.
and I am forward and I am open.
I'm forward and I'm open.
Great. Let's step back. Great. Let's keep moving directly forward, and this time commit to the words. And make sure that what you're saying matches your physical expression. Again, I am forward and I am open. Repeat.
I'm forward and I am open.
Great. The next line. I am backwards and I am closed.
I'm backwards.
I'm backwards.
I'm
backwards.
backwards and I'm closed.
Great. What do those phrases feel to you?
Backwards feels comfortable.
Backwards, or does closed feel comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same, close feels comfortable.
Forward and open is like, oh!
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels very big and vulnerable. So, did you find, I encourage you to find other things other than the obvious, like forward, open, you're going to do this a lot. So, I would like you to do 3 sets. Forward, open, backwards, close, forward, open, backwards, close. And we can use up to us. We're going to sit down so that we don't feel like we're testing you. So you can come all the way up to us and move all the way back to Susan and Gordon and use that space.
Question.
Answer.
Yes. I'm forward and I'm open.
Yes.
So you want us to pretend? You want us to be honest? You want us to...
Yes. Whatever the impulse for that word, giving you the line, forward and open, I am backwards and I'm closed. Whatever that feels like, embody it.
It changes, you know.
That's why we're doing it 3 times.
Oh,
It should
okay.
change every time. It should be able to be accessed at any given time. Don't plan it. Get out of your plan. Okay.
I'm just digesting.
Yeah, don't plan it. Ready? 3 rounds and begin.
I'm
forward
forward
and
and
I'm
I'm
open.
open. I'm backwards and I'm
I'm
backwards
and I'm
and I'm
closed.
closed. I am forward and I am
forward and I'm
open.
Forward and I'm open.
I'm backwards and I'm closed.
I'm backwards and I'm closed.
I am forward and I'm open.
I am forward and I am open.
I am
backwards
I'm
and
open.
I am backwards and I am closed.
I'm backwards and I'm closed.
Great, good. Any memorable moments? None?
Well, it was really to see like the similarities, like when there were, you know, as well like the I am forward, I was like kind of getting louder with that, and overall like being more present in your voice and saying you're forward and open, and hearing all the voices just kind of like shrink with the I'm backward and I'm closed.
You have 1 forward open. That was like,
Yeah.
Yes.
That last one.
I felt like, because every time I went backward and closed, I felt like, oh, my forward and open wasn't good enough. I have to fight this time to do forward and open.
and you did, and we were like, let's switch. Great, so we don't get a rehearsal. They got the rehearsal. We're gonna go right into 3 times. Great.
I am forward and I am
I am
open.
forward.
I am forward
Open.
and I am open.
I'm backward.
I am backwards.
Backwards
And I
and I
am
am
closed.
closed.
Forward, I am open.
I am forward and I am open.
And I am open.
I'm backwards.
I'm backwards and I am closed.
Close.
I'm forward.
I'm
I
forward.
am
I'm
forward
forward
and I am
and open.
open.
And I'm open.
Backwards
I'm
and I am
backwards.
closed.
And I'm closed.
Very good, very good. I'm gonna challenge this group, because you guys were like, jumped right in, to use the whole phrase until we end the movement. I'll demonstrate a little bit. So right now I'm forward and I am open. And if we can push it even further to, I am forward and I am open, to I am backwards and I'm closed. It doesn't have to be equidistance. If it's, I am backwards and I'm closed, you can really play with the rhythm of the language and the rhythm of the movement. I know we're a little cramped because there's so many of us. So this time really allow yourself to, they're like soundboard sliders. 0 is neutral and we just passed through neutral. So let's do a series of 3 again. At full. Ready? Begin.
I am
Forward
forward.
and I am open. I am backward
I am backwards.
and I am closed.
I am
Forward.
Forward.
And I am open.
I'm
I'm
backwards.
backwards
I'm backwards
and I'm
and I'm
closed.
closed.
Nice. I'm forward and I'm
I
open.
am forward
I am forward
I am forward
and
and
I'm
I am open.
And I am backwards.
I'm
And
backwards
I'm closed.
and I'm closed.
I'm backwards
And I'm
Great. Wonderful. That was like a full aria. Like the emotional expansiveness. Let's switch, let the other group play with the levels. Question, after you did it, when you were doing it, did you feel things?
In my leg.
Yeah, emotions started to come up?
Yeah.
Just saying I'm forward and I'm open is a declamation of like self. Did it resonate afterwards or did it release? So watch that if we go somewhere that's emotionally charged, that we can drop it. It's not you, it's not character, it's just a stupid exercise. You should be able to leave your character on stage as soon as you're done with it. the method acting where they take it backstage is actually called insanity. You know, that's where we lose ourselves in the character. And if you're Medea killing your children 3 times a week, you shouldn't take that home.
Yeah.
So it's important as we end and we drop and we reset that you're able to drop. Some things are a little more, like when you push forward and that crackled in your whole body, that felt good, you'll want to hold on to it. Don't. It's a stupid little exercise. All right, as far as you want to go, take a little, I'm going to move this so you have a little bit more space. 3 sets, and begin.
I'm
forward.
And I'm
open.
I'm backwards.
I'm backwards.
I'm backwards.
I'm
And
closed.
I'm closed.
And I'm closed.
I'm
I'm
forward.
forward.
I'm open.
I'm backwards.
I'm backwards.
And
I'm closed.
I am closed.
I'm
I'm
forward.
forward.
And I'm open.
I'm backwards.
I'm backwards.
I'm
And
closed.
I'm closed.
Nice. So now that we have this line going further, notice nobody went back. That's like the dark area. Make sure you can pull all the way back. It'll give you more room to move forward so you can take a full run if you want. Levels. You can move up and down in space as well. The poles are forward, backwards, side to side, but if you want to come in and come all the way down, only go back, close in, use the floor, use the ceiling if you can. See how you can expand using that. Ready? 3 more.
I am forward and I am open.
And I'm open.
I am backwards. And I'm closed.
I'm closed.
I'm forward and I'm open.
I'm forward. I'm open.
I'm backwards.
I'm backwards.
And I'm closed.
I'm closed.
And I'm closed.
I'm backwards. I'm closed.
I'm forward and I'm open.
I'm forward and I'm open.
I'm open.
I'm forward.
Backwards.
And
I'm closed.
I'm backwards.
I'm closed.
I'm closed.
Whatever.
Great, wonderful. Switch. Oh, absolutely. All right. They just set the bar at a new height. Ready? Set of 3.
I am forward and I am open.
I am forward and I am open.
I'm
Backwards.
I'm backwards.
I'm close.
I'm forward and
Forward and I am open.
I'm backwards. I'm close.
I'm backwards. I'm closed.
I'm forward and I'm open.
I'm forward and I'm open.
I am open.
I'm forward.
I'm backwards.
And I'm open.
I'm backwards.
I'm
I'm closed.
closed. And I am backwards.
Great.
Sorry if I scared you.
Okay. Be wary of making a choice to make a choice. There's a cleverness that can come out of us as performers that'll be like, because she went someplace, we gotta one-up her. Like there's that competitive cleverness to make a more interesting choice. Know for me that an honest emotion is more interesting than a clever choice. I tell my grad students in directing, never worry about being clever, worry about being clear. Clear is clever enough. So if you feel like you need to compete, check in with yourself that you're being honest to yourself and not trying to impress me, because I don't need to be impressed. Okay, new text. New text. That is in congruence with the feeling. It is parallel. I am forward and I am open. For us contrarians,
Go backwards when you say.
we are going to switch the phrase, I am forward, but I am closed. I am backward, but I am open. So does that make sense?
Opposite.
Movement is the same. When you're moving forward, you're moving forward. You're moving forward, but you're closed. For us contrarians, it feels a little bit more natural. Ready? A set of 3.
And forward.
I'm forward.
I am forward.
And I'm open.
I'm closed.
And I'm closed.
Backward. I am
I'm
open.
backward.
I'm
Back.
backward.
I'm open.
And
But
I'm
I'm
open.
But I'm open.
Forward.
I'm
Forward.
forward. But
And
I'm
I'm
closed.
I'm backward.
backward.
And
Backward.
And
I am
I'm
open.
open. I'm forward.
I'm forward. I'm
Closed.
forward.
I'm forward.
But I'm closed.
But I'm closed.
Backward.
Backward.
And I'm open.
Open.
I'm open.
Good. So who did that feel more natural than the other ones? Parallel or in? You like the
I
parallel?
like it. I like the idea of, because I feel like there's something like when you're moving backwards, already that tendency to like to have to feel that closeness while you're still like even moving forward. So I feel like whenever I move forward in space, it tends to be like for sort of, yeah.
The contrary one felt more natural, but the parallel one was like more challenging and like more like what I needed.
The way we think and feel will always allow one to feel more natural.
I understood what you meant about parallel versus
Yes.
concept. Parallel meaning like forward and over.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I meant thought like parallel in between, like both of them like have their own.
They do, but yes, you seemed like you connected with the ones that were opposite of the movement a little bit more naturally.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Great, let's try the other one.
I move
I'm
forward,
forward, but I'm closed.
but I'm closed.
I'm backward.
Which-
I'm backward,
And
and
I
I'm
go
open.
backwards. And then I'm open.
I'm forward. I'm forward,
And I'm
but I'm closed.
I go
I'm
forward.
backward, but I'm open.
And backward and closed.
But I'm open. I'm backward,
And then
but
go
I'm
backwards,
open.
and I'm open.
I'm closed.
I go forward.
I am forward,
But I'm
and I'm
closed.
But I'm closed.
And then I go backward.
I'm backward, and I'm open.
And I'm
I'm
open.
backward, and I'm open.
How'd that feel?
True.
Yes, my contrarians. Weird because
There's, I mean, with the there's like more confusing impulses, I think. Because as I'm walking forward and I'm like, oh, but I'm supposed to be closed off, am I going into something I don't want to be doing? You know? Like, I
no,
feel
we're
like
just
it-
moving forward and being closed.
Right.
In one of the times that the word which came in, I didn't plan it, but I said, I move forward and I'm closed, which brings me backwards.
Oh, she's her own librettist. It's great. So you have everybody come over here for a second. So you have an assignment. I would like you to prepare in your brain a series of 5. They can be in any order. And give me a quick 5. There's 4 lines. They could be in any order. So it could be I'm forward and open, I'm forward and open, I'm backwards, but I'm open. It could be any order. Give me 5.
Backwards and closed.
Backwards and closed,
Forward and open.
forward and open, backwards closed, forward open,
Forward closed.
forward closed.
Backwards closed.
Oh shit. Backwards closed, okay. Backwards,
Forward open.
forward open, backward closed, forward.
Sorry.
Forward closed.
Sorry.
Forward, backward open, forward open, backward closed, and I think. Forward open.
Oh my god.
Forward open, backward close, forward close, backward close.
Okay. I need a final one?
Forward.
I'm staying put.
I'm forward.
Open.
Great, I will not remember this. Forward open, backwards closed, forward closed, backwards closed, forward open. I am forward and I am open. I am backwards and I am closed. I am forward, but I am closed. I'm backwards, but I'm closed. I'm forward, and I'm open. So we take that, we're going to do that 5 set, and then the next step is do it without words. Recreate it. So in my brain, I'm still saying it. Start planning your 5. And then, can we do it and take out the movement? Now that you saw the script in my head, could you see it when I was still? So that's what I call recital performance, because we're taking everything and shrinking it. Got your 5?
No. Can you repeat the order?
Any order. All right. Any order? Can I have three to start? Great. Well, this is rehearsal with words. And if it doesn't match, it's okay.
I'm going forward and I'm open.
I'm open.
I'm backwards.
I'm going
and I'm
backwards
open.
and I'm open.
I'm forward and I'm closed.
I'm going backwards and
I'm backwards, but I'm open.
And I'm closed.
I'm backwards
I'm going
and
forward.
I'm closed.
and I'm open.
I'm backwards and I'm closed.
I'm forward.
Backwards and closed.
I'm forward and I'm open.
Very good. I'd like you to rehearse again, and now think about your commas. There's something that happens between each phrase that is undecided, and instead of jumping to the next line, sometimes live in that unknown before it happens again. I call them the commas because they're the they're the weird rests, they're the weird breaks, they're the turns, the corners. Live in the corner, breathe in the corner. If you notice when I did it, what communicated it most clearly was my breath. My breath was emotional breathing. Ready? Try it with the corners. Raise the stakes just a hair.
With words.
With words.
I'm going forward,
I'm forward
and I'm open.
I'm forward and I'm open.
I'm forward
I'm
and I'm
going
closed.
backwards
I'm
and
backwards
I'm open.
and I'm
I'm
closed.
backwards, but I'm open.
I'm going backwards and I'm closed.
I'm
I'm
forward
backwards
and I'm
and
closed.
I'm going forward and I'm closed. I'm going forward and I'm open.
I'm backwards
but I'm
and I'm
closed.
open. I'm forward and I'm open.
Great. I want you to do the same thing without speaking the words out loud, but doing the words in your head. In your head, still fully expressing. It's hard when we're not vocalizing to fully express, but keep the same amount of expression and the script running in your head. Before we start, pick one person, because it's really hard, pick one person to observe. Begin when ready. Great. I was waiting for you to drop. Very good, very good. Let's switch. Can I have one, two? Let's have 4. You know, you
Sorry, I
can't
was waiting
help
for you to
to-
stop.
We didn't do the standing.
We'll get there. Ready, rehearsal. No stakes, just pick the order.
I'm backwards.
I am
I'm forward and I'm
I'm
open.
forward. I'm
I'm
backwards.
close.
I'm
And
backwards.
I'm close. And I'm close.
I'm backwards. And I'm close.
I'm backwards.
I'm
forward.
open. And I'm
I'm backwards, but I'm open. I'm forward.
I'm backwards, but I'm open.
I'm close.
I'm
I'm
forward,
I'm forward when I'm up.
And I'm open.
but I'm close.
Great. Try it without words.
Wait, does it have to be the same order every
Yep.
time?
Oh, man.
What
You
if
didn't
it's
even have
not?
to say that out loud because we wouldn't have noticed. We wouldn't have noticed. I only say that because we just rehearsed something and it kind of felt like it worked. So instead of trying to reinvent something new, going over that, if we had 2 more hours building these as scales so that we have, but it's a short class. You're like, this is long. Whenever you're ready, no words. Great, great, wonderful. You were giving me total Susanna, Trees on the Mountain vibes.
Oh, I hate that word.
What? No! No! I love it, I love it. I was like, oh my God. And you were giving me series Nemorino vibes. I don't know your voice types, I'm just obsessed. I was like, great. So,
This
we
last
have
one.
one more, we have one more group. If they choose. Alright, that's like. And rehearsal. Oh, this looks like, they're all fancy, they're all in black, I feel like it's like, I'm gonna dance. With words.
I'm forward.
I'm backward and I'm open.
And I'm open.
I'm backward and I'm close.
I'm backward and I'm open.
I'm forward and I'm open. I'm forward.
I'm forward and I'm closed.
Backward.
Forward and I'm open.
open.
Great, let's take away the words. Take away the words. let's do it still. Begin. Great, very good. The hard thing to begin when we're still is to have that breath of start and that dump, that I'm done. Great, does anybody else want to try it still? Come on up. Let's do 2 and 2. Let's do you 2 and then we'll do you 2. Do you want to have a refresher and do it with words, or are you good to jump to still?
We're good.
Great. Great, nice. I just wanted to protect her.
Yeah.
And she was ready to fight. Like she was ready to go off to battle, and then we were like, oh. And everything was still moving, but there was no movement. The emotions were flowing in and out of your body and filling up the space, and we could see it, but we didn't have to. Great. Let's see these two. Great, we just jumped in. So close your eyes, center yourself, and when you're ready to begin, breathe and come to life. Nice. It's emotionally exhausting, isn't it? I call it the emotional velocity because it's like how fast an emotion moves through your body and that you can control it, exercise it, and use it. It took energy, correct? Was it exhausting? Emotionally taxing. It is emotionally taxing, but if you do exercises like this, it'll become less. And you'll become the emotional monster that we were born to be. You know, babies scream, cry for everything they want. That's kind of what we do in opera. We just have been socialized to not show it. Great. What can you use this for? Any ideas?
When we stand and have to sing an aria or something, and we don't have space.
When you don't have space and you don't
Then
want
we use
to.
our body and our mimics.
I would challenge you to use it when you're approaching an aria to try to score it out. And physically move, because I don't believe you can jump to still from nothing. If we had done this first, still, it would have been singers standing there thinking. And if it was about thinking, they'd call it thinking and not acting. It's about doing something. So when you're going through Aki feels and you want to feel all the feels, you know, go ahead and give yourself that and see how that informs you. So when you are still, you have that physical impulse to move whether you're open. When she's like, hey Tamino, is that a forward and open, or is it a forward but closed? That could really inform. The other place this comes in really handy, the aria with the long intro. Who has one? Which one?
Rosina.
Which one? There's 17 so Una Voce Poco Fa? Yep, they play the whole song before she sings it. What do you do? If you go through it and have all of the emotions scored out, another aria with a long intro. I can't do Rosina, I'm too exhausted for that. What's your voice set?
I'm a tenor.
So Una Furtiva Lagrima.
Mm-hmm.
They play the whole song beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to demonstrate. There's people piling in behind me, but I'm not giving up my space yet.
You just practice this.
Hmm?
You just practice here.
Great. Let's see, am I going to get an ad? I'm going to get an ad because I'm in front of people. Okay. So I'm going to do what I practiced. I'm going to allow myself to move in feeling, because stillness is for my book teachers from the 70s and 80s. I need to start again. Can I plug this? Okay, last thing. Right? I wasn't bored at all for that long intro. Did it look active? Did it look like I was going through something? I was really just thinking about forward open, backward close.
So when practicing this, is that like what we should do? Like trying to do like a move like for every dramatic beat. Like I noticed that like for every
I was moving for every dramatic beat because I added the music, so it was informing it. So somewhere I was like, I'm backwards, but I'm closed. And my brain went, but I'm really closed.
Yeah.
Really, really closed. I letting the music to inform that, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And when I have an actual song lyric, I will say, then replace the script you wrote yourself, the English script, with the Italian, with the language. Because he's basically thinking the aria before he sings it.
Yeah.
So great. Thank you so much. I really